Welcome everybody to Fire and Ice Conscious Conversations with Alexandria and Daren. How you doing, Alexandria?
I'm doing great today. I'm very excited for our show. They just there's such a high vibing way to spend time, and it just I really feel like that lingers on afterwards. So I'm hoping that you're also experiencing that, and that our viewers are also, feeling that all the love that we're pouring into these episodes.
I just felt it when you
Yeah.
were saying it actually now because I feel like before we started recording, we were already ramping up the momentum, and plus it's like uh, it's so interesting because on the back of us doing recording every week, I'm channeling with two other, well, now this week we right before this it was with two other people, and the energy that was circulating, like I could just feel it as I'm moving my hands like now like this, like
There
I was like
is
I
true.
literally was coming down from way up there. I was like put my hand on my head like this afterwards. I'm like, oh my God. And then I could feel like these sensations in my body. Just it was so yeah, that's kind of on the back of, so it's interesting because it emanates into you know, our podcast. So it's
It does.
pretty cool now
Well,
that I think about it.
I know what you mean. I feel like that expansion. I'm feeling that happening also. And I just worked with a client also this week that was just sort of, I'd never heard of them. They'd never. I was like, how did you even come to know my name? And she was just into a crystal store that I frequent, and that person was recommending me, and
Hmm.
and it was such a good session. And I even had like a little bird come in and land at the window while it was going on, and I had bringing messages through for her. It was really really cool. So yeah, as we expand, as we raise our frequency, and we're dropping resistance, and as we know, you resist anything, you're resisting everything. So
Everything.
just by dropping all of that, we are expanding our fields of how we're connecting with people. So we're going to be drawing in from further and further. I feel like just attracting those who are like-minded or who
Mhm.
match our frequency. So yeah, it's exciting, it's fun.
Oh, yeah, I I am really, I'm gonna have to send you this video that I was watching of this little kid, and now I find out that when I showed my friend, she says, "Oh yeah, I've seen that little boy," and this little boy was talking about God and about there being no end and no beginning. Apparently, he has a bunch of, like, his mom posts these videos up on, I guess, one of the social media platforms, and he's apparently pretty big. And the group that I'm in shared it, and they go, "This is proof of our future." And that's exactly what came through for me and has been coming through for a while as to, man, like this is going to get good. It's starting to get good. Look at the people they're sending us. Look at Spirit is sending us, and
Yeah, yeah.
how expanded these kids are, and um, just where they're at consciously. And I feel like what we were talking about prior to coming on here and recording, um, about these labels and beliefs, and I feel like we're letting go of a lot of it. I mean, that's what I feel like. I just feel it after this morning. It's a lot of this stuff is falling off, and we're realizing who we truly are. The power we have, and that we're creating all of this, and we've created all of this. It's just unreal, and it's just amazing.
I'm really starting to feel, and I will reference a teacher we both admire, Sarah Landon. I've just been rereading her first book, Wisdom of the Council, and they were talking about how, like, pretty much everyone reading that book has been through their own traumas where we felt like we lost everything. We were starting from scratch, whether it was death or divorce or financial ruin or whatever it was that caused that. And then we were like the phoenix, right, rising from those ashes and creating something new and beautiful. And but they took it that step further, and they were saying so, and saying don't give your awareness to the perceived negativity going on in other parts of the world, which is the
Mm,
same thing that the star beings that I connected with on our last hypnosis session, which we will soon be releasing to everybody. We're so excited about that. They were saying that too, a very similar message, but like not to get embroiled in that and showing what happens when you do. But also, I love how Council, who Sarah Landon channels, said that that these parts of the world are going through that. So you'll see like
mhm.
places in the world where there's a lot of trauma going on right now, but it's like the earth is going through that. All the people there are going through that. So really just to bring your awareness back to what is in your vicinity. How can you connect with uh, your own pets, your own people, your own trees, your own land, and never mind what's going on the other side of the world, and never mind what's on. Don't get drawn into TV and Netflix and whatever. If it's or I didn't mean Netflix, I meant like social media stuff. Or whatever show you're watching, same thing, but just stay focused, stay present, and stay lifted.
I want to tell you something that happened to me yesterday, and it's been kind of leading up to this, but this was so profound yesterday. And this has now been two different things, okay, that has occurred to me in the past week and a half. And I got such, oh God, I got massive, um,
That was fun.
okay, yeah, that's spirit and the universe telling us that it's not that serious, you know,
Yeah.
and that's the messages I've been getting a lot lately. Like it's not that serious, you know, like none of this is that serious. So that's so funny that that just happened because last night, and then I'll backtrack a little bit from the what happened
How
last
did
night.
that even happen? Like that was so random.
I
How did
don't
that
know.
even
I don't know.
happen?
I don't know, but I mean, I'm saying like, you know, the message that I channeled and the messages that's been coming through is like, it's not that serious, you know, and it kind of goes on the back of like, everything is like joy, bliss, find our joy, you know, like, so I want to cut this quick and just say, you know, so last night I was watching this reality show that I've watched for years, and I literally was in this like observer mode. Like I felt like I was split between the 3D and the 5D. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Literally, while I was watching it, I could see what the Sarah and the council talks about everybody choosing to come, like our souls choosing to come here and play a role. And I've heard this from not only her and the council, but from Dolores Cannon, from a lot of different
Yeah.
people, that this is all a game. We've all created it. We've created this whole place, every single one of us. And, you know, it's like a playground, but yet we've adopted this seriousness around it. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching and I'm observing and I feel split. Okay. And as I watch, I'm watching each person play this role of like, I want to ask you this question. Did you cheat on this person? What were you feeling when you did this? And the way the person responded, it was so serious. And I'm thinking to myself in my mind as I'm observing this whole thing, and I'm like, oh my God, their soul chose to play that role, and they're playing it as if they're acting in a movie, like so serious. Like, like, and I literally saw it like that. Like I'm in the 5D and I'm watching how, and I'm being reminded of all these downloads I was getting over the past year or more about like a guy that does pest control, or you have somebody that's a plumber, or they write mortgages for homes in a bank. And I go in there and I remember years ago, I go in there and I'd be like, in my mind, it was like back then I felt the same way, but I didn't understand it to the level I understand it now. And I literally remember like, why are they so serious about like this contract for a mortgage? Like, I never really understood it to the point where people take these jobs or these identities that they've created so serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sitting
It's
there
true.
watching them on this show play that role so serious, like, but their soul chose to come in and do it that way. And now they're acting it out so like it's the end of the world type of seriousness, like I'm gonna play this role to the end, like perfectly, like, and their soul is getting so much joy out of that. And and it reminded me from what Sarah and the council said last week, about the roles we've chosen to play, and that the soul wanted to choose that role. And then it's like, but man, it was so interesting to sit there, but like to see it from that 5D standpoint, because that's really what it felt like. It was split. And I'm like, wow, man, like, but I had compassion. That's what I wanted to say. But I had compassion for them because they don't know anything is beyond that.
Mm.
Like an example, really good example is like an ant. I keep giving this example because I keep getting this analogy of an ant, and you trying to sit there, and you're like like the ant is sitting there on the table, and you're like yelling and screaming at the ant, trying to get the ant to understand you. Like like a critter, like a little ant,
Yeah,
and you're like trying to get the ant to understand you, and you're like yelling at it, and it can't hear you. It doesn't even know you exist. Like, but you're yelling at it like, Come on, don't you hear what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying?" And it doesn't understand you. All it knows
yeah,
is what it does as a job and what it came here to do, and that level of consciousness. It doesn't know that there's anything beyond it but
yeah.
us. But we are expanding our consciousness so much that we understand now that there's so much more out there than we could even have imagined that's available to us. And we want more and more expansion, because we're like, oh my God, like, holy cow, if this is what it is at where I'm at now, could you imagine, you know? So I don't know if that made
Oh, I think it is. I agree, getting better and better. And I think a big part of that is like really being open to receive, all of that energy, and just being like making a commitment early in the day, like just like I'm open to receive this, and I call on my angels and guides to, you know, guide, align, direct, and protect is what I say, but whatever. And just find something to be grateful for to kind of keep your set point up there before you're going out into the world and mixing with other people. Because it's true also, like whatever you're like your our we have our average, our vibrational frequency, does average out, but it dips up and down too. So
Yeah,
we want to
yeah,
keep
yeah.
it, so steadily going up and up and up, so that we can experience more of this. We'll see it because we'll just be able to hold more light and more energy, and so we'll be more, we might see UFOs, or you know
I did.
yeah,
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 well, yeah,
I have
yeah,
too. I'm out in the middle of nowhere here, and I did too. One night I was
yeah.
just called to be up, and I was like, I don't want to get up. And it was middle of winter, but I was still like, I was just so called on to get up, and I did. And I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll journal. And then just found myself looking out the window, and that's when I saw, like looked like two that were two crafts. But anyways, and then I was able to go back to bed and go back to sleep. But so, but yeah, like, oh, a lot of stuff happens. You know,
We are on the brink of something huge, like right
yeah.
now, and we all came here for this, and it's just like, I don't know if anything I said made any sense, but you know, um,
Well, yeah, it does.
it was
Yeah,
so profound,
it
to
does.
experience that it's like I think that it's gonna happen more and more, and we're gonna more and more dip into the 5D versus the three, and and we're gonna and that's kind of like what I felt like that was like especially as I've gotten to like speak it out, like not only on here with you, but prior to this, it's making me realize it even more as to, wow, wait a minute, like that felt like a split, like like we're splitting, and so it was, yeah,
It is funny, the things that we take seriously and the
yeah,
things that we
yeah.
just kind of dismiss.
Mhm.
Because when I go into that place and I'm doing like animal channeling, or even like animal mediumship, and they show me where, they plan to come together with their owners, and there's like they call them the like different names, but often the wise ones, they'll say, will come and sort of give them an overview of when to be connecting with that person, and what, what they want it to come out of that, because there's always they have their mission too and their life paths, but then unless they come to someone who is so like spiritually aware and awake, they're treated just like, you know, like for this the term fur babies, like
Yeah.
they're not babies, and that kind of undermines what they're here to do. And then after we'll realize that they've been your spiritual teachers all along, but
Oh yeah.
that wasn't taken seriously by many people. It's just like, oh, they're cute and fluffy, and or they make sure like they serve various other purposes. Most people do not. Some people do. Some people really connect with them and really see that we're connected. But so many just, so it's just kind of funny what we take seriously and what we disregard. And I think in many cases we have it flipped. But I think that's also part of the entrainment that happens when we come to Earth and we're taught that everything is supposed to be about career and whatever.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
better take
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
seriously, and because this is where your money is coming from, you don't understand, or you're taught away from knowing that it's source, and you begin to associate your livelihood just with that employer, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And
Mm-hmm.
back in the day when it was like you were there for like 35 years or whatever, and then you get your gold watch, and then but I mean, that's certainly gone by the wayside. That's all changed now. But yeah, I think we're going to see many new realizations coming, and I think yeah, it's pretty
The
awesome.
inversion, the inversion, like the one where my parents talked about money doesn't grow on trees when it's actually the opposite because money is energy, just like
Yeah,
everything is energy. And it's your belief, you know, if you think that only one way you can receive, is through this job that I go to every day, that I get a paycheck once a week, that's your belief.
yeah.
And so it's like you're
So you
100%
believe in
right.
that limitation and that restriction. It's like, okay, I
That's
make
yeah,
this much. That's all I make. I just
yeah,
make that much.
yeah,
So I got to really, you know what I mean? Rather than
yeah.
thinking the whole world is your,
Well, yeah, your oyster, yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're totally right. And yeah, it's letting go of all those beliefs and expectations and what you thought you were, and and the identities you are holding, and around yourself and others. And yeah, it's oh my God, I cannot tell you. I mean, just in the sessions I've been doing, which is what you spoke about earlier that we're going to release,
yeah,
some of the people, I mean, I've done quite a few already, and what I keep seeing more and more with ones that I do is people are going to this place. And I think in one of the sessions that we did together that is going to be posted was the same thing, where you were in a place where you said it felt so amazing and full of love and everything. And that is
yeah,
something that I'm finding so many people are going to. And
yeah, yeah.
it's like they're going to source in these sessions. They're going to this place where it's all available and you have access to that anytime you want. That peace, that stillness, that love, you know?
Yeah, and they teach us how to create that for ourselves. We don't
Hmm.
necessarily have to go into, a BQH or other hypnosis, or even,
Yeah.
we just have to drop down into our heart. And I really feel that now, like anytime, and it's part of my daily practice when I'm journaling and doing all that, my earthing and stuff like that. I do drop down into my heart before I do like channeling and automatic handwriting and also verbal. But it's just it's so easy now. Like it's just literally it's
Yeah.
just like drop down, and then I just start really feeling that expansiveness because it's been shown to me now on the like in the 5D. And so now I can recreate it like easily without consciously, mindfully, like I'm going to try to recreate it. It's just like I'm just there and I'm in that, my guides and angels talk about the great central heart, it's just drop down into that. So I don't even feel like it's my own heart, but you get that just that feeling of just that love and peace and just that knowing that all is well, and it's really a beautiful place to be, and the longer you can stay there, I try to really carry that throughout my day, and that's something all of our viewers can just do your 3 deep breaths, come into your heart and just be in your heart, think about things that you love, people you love, animals you love, and just expand on that.
Yeah,
It's a very healing place to be. Like it feels like Reiki. Like
Yeah.
I've been practicing Reiki for 25 years, and I feel like that when I'm doing that, it feels like the same. So to me, Reiki is love, Reiki is source energy. And so when I'm literally in my heart center, I feel the same sensations, the same physical
Yeah, you're
sensations.
actually right. I mean, a little bit more of like I would add to like how you feel in your head and stuff like that, because it kind of feels like you come down from like spaciness and stuff, which I don't feel when you do Reiki, but I know what you're saying, and you're actually
Yeah.
you make a
Just
really
that
valid
feeling
point.
of love and of
Yeah.
unity that I tend to feel like
Yeah, and you get
that's
like
what I
that
was
tingling
talking.
sensation and everything, and it's blissful, and it's like I feel that too when I do
Yeah.
Reiki on myself as well. And it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
but what I just got when you were talking, I got this download that and I think it was in one of the sessions we're gonna post, where you were in that space where it was like you were just consciousness, and I'm almost positive it was yours, one of the ones we did together for
Yeah.
YouTube.
I
Um
know the one you're talking about.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I also got
Subtle.
that for somebody else,
Jennifer.
but I remember you saying, I'm pretty sure, is that this space is where everything is. Everything is
Yeah.
available.
Yeah.
And I got that metaphor that just came through, that is essentially the access point, and we all have access to that. And essentially they were showing you that in that session, that everything is available here to us when we connect, when we drop into the breath, when we drop into our heart, we have that access to it all. Isness, oneness, all of it, is available to us. There's no one specific, I feel like there's no one specific person like that you idolize, that, oh yeah, they are able to do it and I'm not. No, I mean everybody can do it. Everybody has access to
Yeah.
it, and that is, I feel like, what more and more people are waking up and realizing, like as this massive awakening keeps occurring, and people are starting to see that the foundation, cracking, and all of this, and all the, where, well, like what happened to me yesterday, where I was felt like that split, and I was being shown the two worlds, that's more and more what's happening to all of us, the veil's thinning, and we're realizing we all can do this, we all have access
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and I think people are also realizing, like, as in terms of like psychic abilities and things are becoming
Yeah.
much more prevalent because people are open to it. Whereas even like in it, like even in my lifetime, like even when I began my spiritual journey, there were people who are like, well, if you're like if you don't have if you haven't already exhibited certain abilities, then forget it. You don't have it. You don't
Mm,
have it,
mm,
only
mm,
I have it, so I can be. And it was like Reiki practitioners were like, I am the healer. They're like, no, they're facilitating. You're always doing your own healing. So if anybody has someone who's telling them that they're the healer, you're actually give yourself credit because you're the one and your body is doing the healing. But they would talk about that with all kinds of things. And like a lot of these are just devoting time and practice um, to mediumship, to working with telepathy, to, like to healing your body. Like it just takes intention really and bringing your consciousness to it because, as it consciousness moves energy into form, it's like we've got all of this molding substance and we just have to give it some intention to direct it to what we want the outcome to be. And we've got that power. It's just remembering it. And like we've been talking a lot about empowering our water, and using different methods to charge up our water and our food. And that's like across the board with the food we eat and showers and everything else, but it's all just there. So it's like it is like a big playground, I feel like. And like we were talking about money and forms of limitation that has been imposed on us and that we've learned, but we don't have to choose that.
mhm,
That doesn't have to be true for us. It's just releasing those preconceived ideas that were drilled into us. It's the time we were like, you
mhm,
know,
mhm.
small. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because well, I mean, the thing that I was getting for a long, long time is, your higher, well, what you were just saying actually about, the intention, and if you aren't creating like a space or like a sacred space around it, and you're just like, you know what? I'll just do this whenever I feel like it, and you kind of don't really hold value to it,
Yeah.
and like I'm gonna channel, oh, I'll just do it whenever I want. Like I don't really care. It's not a big deal, like kind of thing. And you're not really, you don't value any of it, and you don't have this sacred practice around it. You think your higher self is just gonna be like, yeah, sure, I'll just give it to him anytime, he doesn't really care, but I'm gonna give it to him anyway, you know. Uh so the more and more what I've realized and have gotten downloads for a long period of time, especially with like light language and things like that, is you have to set aside time. You have to cultivate a practice around it. You have to treat it with, yes, things aren't that serious, but you still have to create a practice around it. You're not going to keep getting these massive intuitive hits unless you are, cultivating some kind of practice and treating
Yeah.
it with value and worth,
Yeah, like a ritual around it,
yeah,
and
that's a good word. Yeah. Yeah.
even like with the water, we were talking about making like you might want to make like a bit of a shrine or something, and
Yeah.
all that is just to tell your mind that this is something important, because you are training your brain, and it's also you're teaching your body that when it goes into this space, because it's great to have, like, it's just like if you're cultivating a meditation practice, although you don't have to be, it could be a journaling practice or whatever else, or but I mean, if you designate a specific place and try to keep to the same time, then your body knows that, so it knows like, oh, I'm going into this space when I'm here. I'm meditating, or I'm
Hmm.
focusing on my spirituality. I'm doing this, and so I'm holding crystals, and I'm surrounded by crystals and plants and whatever it is that makes you feel like maybe you've got a picture of someone who inspires you that's going to help you bring into that space. But this is just a way of like, so then you don't have to work so hard. You just have to really, like, it's not hard work now, but I can remember when it was like, oh man, I got to carve out 15 minutes. And when I had like two jobs and four kids and cats and dogs and, erratic, marriage, say it, nicely and lightly. It was like, really, seriously, I'm supposed to create, who has time for 15 minutes? Like, and it just seemed like the impossible thing,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
when you start giving it, so do five, do 5 minutes, do 10. But the more you do it, you do become more and more conditioned, and it becomes easier because you also feel good when you do it. So now
Yeah.
you've got your ego on board, because it's like, this feels good. I like going into this place. I get to play with crystals. I get to have aromatherapy or whatever it is. Maybe you have a tiara you wear while you're doing your channeling to connect with, sort, like, whatever it is, make it pleasant, make it fun, and don't feel like, well, I'm going to do an hour now, and then I'm not going to do any for the next 3 days. Like, you're not going to get the same kind of results, but if consistency, and just bring that love to it, and pat yourself on the back. Because I can appreciate, like, right now, like, my time is whatever I choose to, I create my days, and but yeah, I can appreciate that a lot of viewers are like, yeah, in between changing the baby and maybe running off to the, whatever. But
Hmm.
do give yourself, just even if it's just like 5 minutes that you can dedicate just to you, and then maybe make it 10, but just slowly build on that until because it's
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
there's an expression that he with the highest vibration, not, or strongest, he with the dominant vibration wins. And that dominant vibration could be like a negative dominant vibration. But if you're like going into a situation and you haven't already predetermined that maybe I'm going into a workplace and maybe it's been kind of crappy, but I'm going to decide that I'm going to improve, I'm going to bring the best of myself, and I expect to see evidence reflected in my outer world because I've now made the shift in my inner world. And then if somebody's in a bad mood, you can just kind of, it'll just kind of roll off you more than if it's like you're walking in and, oh God, I hope the boss is, in a good mood today. Kind of, you
Hmm.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of set yourself up for a hard day, or set yourself up for success. And I've tried those because I've been in those situations, and I know that these things work, these practices work. So if anybody is in something like that where they feel like they don't have control, you really do. But it's you have control over the inside of you, and your outer world is a reflection of what's going on inside. So when you take that control and take it like for yourself, then nobody else can take your energy or make you feel in a certain way,
Mhm.
or
Yep.
put you in a bad mood, or, it's always easy to blame somebody else, but really ultimately it's our lives, it's our responsibility to set the tone for our own selves. So just, yeah.
No, that's beautiful. I mean, that's beautiful, beautiful message. I mean, and you're right. I mean, it's like I've been since January 1st, I've made a commitment to share my messages, audio and written channeled messages in the group this group I'm in, and I've literally I think it's day 70, I don't know, day 71, and I've literally done it every single day, and it's become like something normal that I wake up, I meditate, I do my morning stuff and 2, 3 in the morning, and then I sit down and I channel, and lo and behold, it's been about every single time, no joke. I'll be in the middle of it. Sometimes I like peek my eyes open to see the timer on the as I'm recording the audio, and I'll be like, "Oh man, there's only 9 minutes is that we've done. That's come through. Am I going to be able to?" So it's like, but then all of a sudden, before I know it, it's like 24, 25 minutes, and it's been running the same amount of time every single day almost, where these messages come through where they're like 20 something minutes, and then after that it'll move to automatic writing and I do a written channeled message, and yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like 71 days, I was like, wow, that's like
Oh, congratulations.
what a
That's really,
what
yeah,
a
that's
what a
awesome.
milestone,
Y-
and
Yeah,
it's just a testament to I'm following what feels good and what feels right, for me and my soul. I feel like my soul is leading me, leading my human, you know, for whatever this is unfolding into, and of course my mind wants to know and wants a map of everything and like where is this leading you to? What is it gonna amount to, type of,
yeah.
but like,
Why am I wasting my time doing this?
yeah,
I could be
yeah,
sleeping.
yeah, yeah. And so, it's like, but I keep leaning back to I have to trust, I have to trust that whatever's unfolding is unfolding and it's going to unfold and be so amazing beyond what I could have ever imagined, and that's what I keep trying to lean into, that uh, trusting at the end of the day your soul and that your soul's leading you and knows and is as many steps ahead of your human mind, and it knows already,
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's got all such of the full advantage. It knows what your intentions, what you wanted to do when you
yeah,
incarnated. It knows all that, and it's there to guide us. And we never intended to forget that. We intended to know that we had this spiritual support team, and to know that, we had guidance. We just that they were with us, that they're always with us. We didn't intend to forget all that stuff and feel like we're slogging it out here by ourselves.
yeah,
Yeah, that was just part of I don't know, things got a little bit crossed there, I think, but but we do have all that guidance and comfort and assistance and just reminders of just bringing us back into the moment. So, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's the one thing that I keep reiterating, like when I do a video for YouTube or something like that, and or anything, or I'm like, there is no way that I would have agreed come down here with no help whatsoever and
Yeah.
just be blindfolded and walking around not know being clueless of everything. There is no way that there is not help on the other side all around this whole place guiding every single one of us, because there's no way none of us would have agreed to come here without that, assistance, and be completely clueless of everything and what's unfolding and just trusting in the unknown and not having a clue of anything. There's no way. I would have never agreed to that,
Yeah.
you know?
Or to come into, abject poverty, or to come into, like suffering. You
Yeah.
never made those, you wouldn't have made those choices. You would have come to, like, if somebody said, well, you can go to Costa Rica, but you're going to be really sick the whole time you're on holidays there, and it's going to take you a few months to recover when you get home again. And would you be like, oh, goodie, sign me up. I can't wait
Yeah,
to get
exactly.
there and
There you go.
get
That's a great
vitamin or
analogy.
whatever,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
nobody would go.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great analogy. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you knew that, yeah, you wouldn't do that. Like it's no way. So yeah, I try to say that over and over again to myself that there's no way. And I know that there is a spiritual team. I know that there is help. And I'm always reminded of what my dad always said. You have to believe. You have to believe so strongly. You have to have that deep, deep belief. He used to yell that to me, at me. Like he goes, I believe so strongly, you know, and it all starts with your belief, and so
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, that stuck with me heavily, as to what went.
It brings to mind, and I keep thinking about this little. When I was little, I used to wear, it was a little pendant with a mustard seed in it, and then there was this little gold plaque that said, "If ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, nothing shall be impossible unto you." And my parents gave it to me when I was just like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 or something. I wore it for, I don't know whatever happened to it. Somewhere along the line, it disappeared, and so I kind of got my radar up for, I would love to find something like that again. But yeah, it's having that faith, having that trust, and just knowing that, and just like we're seeding, collective consciousness. Like I feel like we were also seeded, those people that we're getting guidance from, whether our spiritual support team or, people who have come, who are presenting new ideas to us, that we're being seeded with that. And we in turn are being like little Johnny Apple seeds and sprinkling, little spiritual truths all about for people to let them nurture themselves with, and they will grow and thrive. And
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. That's just, you're spot on. I mean, that's the one thing that I think that if anything in this podcast you take away is that, is that you are I mean, it's mostly the human and your mind standing in the way, and just oh yeah, no, that's not true, that's BS, no, no, don't believe that, it's like just the mind really standing in the way of you having that freedom and and trusting and believing in something guiding you, but a lot of us, I think, even including yourself, with what we've spoken about on previous podcasts about your intuition telling you and then you listening and not going and doing something that could have been
yeah,
something. It's
yeah,
all that is like showing us signs that something is leading us way bigger than our mind can even conceptualize or, think it out, So a
I
lot of
agree.
us are
I
getting, yeah, a
agree.
lot of us are getting that, or have had that. So we have had a taste of it, to then trust more in those the being guided, it's really cool times. I more and more I wake up every day and I'm like, oh my God, man, we have no idea what is coming. It is so there's something big coming, amazing. Um,
So if you don't mind sharing, I'm going to ask you, like, it's going to be a personal question, but so if you do your channeling at like 2 and 3 in the morning, and then you like channel and then you go back to bed, so you don't, you're not
no,
like up
no,
for the day at that time,
no, no,
are
no.
you?
I don't go right back to bed. No. Um, I
When do you sleep?
no, I it's I usually get up like 3 in the morning, usually somewhere around there, like around that time. And then I kind of do like stillness or meditation, I guess you could say, kind of. And then I'll start channeling. I do both channel, like I said, I do the audio and then the written, and then I'll do breath work. I go to bed at like 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's like I just
And
started.
then you're awake till three, and then you just stay up like for your day.
Yeah.
That's you're getting up
No,
around
I
at
don't.
three.
I
Oh,
don't. Well, I don't just start going around and doing things. I have like a whole practice. I'll do like stretching. I'll do all these. Like I start with the channeling, and then I'll sometimes I meditate just in silence or whatever, and then I will or do breath work then, and then I'll do the stretching, and then if I've done all of that, I'll lay back down, and it's so interesting because I don't actually go fully asleep, but I go into these deeper states where I start dreaming, and it feels like I slept the whole night, and I'm like these really vivid dreams start happening. And then I'll come out of it and I'll time myself before it happens. And then get up and I'm like, oh my God, that was only like 10 minutes, but it felt like all night. And
wow.
I go in and out of these trance states, and then I finally get up, and start my day. So it's like a series of things I do, but that's when I have the most peace and quiet and
Mm,
silence. And um if I start to if I wait till like 7 o'clock in the morning or so around those times, you could hear shit outside. You start to hear
mm.
people's cars,
Yeah,
and you can't really get deep into that connection and that channeling. Whereas I know that if I do it, even if it's like 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning or 6, it's still early enough. So if sometimes I wait and I end up doing breath work first or something like that, then and it ends up being later. Fortunately, if it's earlier than that, I mean, if it's later than like 7 or 8, forget it. It's like harder.
mm.
You don't
Yeah,
have that quietness, and you can't, even if you go in your car and you shut the door, you can still hear the birds chirping, and you know,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's like so yeah, I've really it's a good time, I feel like. And if I get it done at that point, then I can lay down, and if I doze off or something and go into like some dream state, it's okay because I've already done all the things I want to do in the morning,
yeah.
that so yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So yeah, and I've been doing it now for like 70 something days, like I said, consecutively, 71, whatever. I think today's 71, if I'm not mistaken,
And
since
you're really
January.
experiencing changes and like a
Yeah, yeah.
acceleration in your ascension, sounds like.
Yeah, I'm noticing changes in just even when I channel like with the group that I channel in the morning, before this we record, the one that I do right after this. I'm getting feedback from others when I do it. That I'm getting it's kind of validation and confirmation that they're like, oh man, I needed to hear that. Oh wow, that like you are changing, like from the day I saw you starting, or when we started together. So it's really cool to see, you know,
Yeah,
the progress, because sometimes we can't see it ourselves.
yeah, yeah. It's nice to have that sort of evidence, that,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so do you want to do like a what you were talking about? I think we did it on one of the other.
Just scripting kind
Yeah,
of thing that we
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
finish it off.
That's always a lot of fun. And so was there anything in particular, or do we did sort of a general before for,
Why don't we do like something like
growth?
what we why don't we do like what we talked about originally? Where like we're kind of projecting ourselves, like what we see ourselves to be, but like as us now, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like
Okay, yeah.
a year from now, but talk about it as if it's already happened. And
Okay,
you
yeah.
know so like it could be a year or whatever, a year from now, but yet we're talking as if it's right now, it's already happened. Is that
For this podcast, you mean?
um maybe just
For
in
like what
general,
we
like what.
see for this podcast to be?
Well, it could be, but I mean, it could also be like, oh my God, wow, Alexandria, I've read all 10 of your books already. you know,
Oh, okay,
like,
yeah, okay. So
like,
more personal.
you
Okay,
get what
well,
I'm
why don't you
saying?
start and then just tag me in
That just
whenever
came to
you're.
mind, like right now,
I
like,
like
oh my
that.
God, like, wow, Alexandra, like, oh my God, I went into the bookstore, Barnes and Noble to be exact, and I saw all 30 books you've written on the shelf being
Oh my
displayed
gosh.
on
Thank you.
a being displayed on a an aisle display right in the front near the registers. And I walked past and I was like, oh my God, like I know her. Like we've recorded podcasts together and she's written 30 books.
Yes, and I attribute a lot of that to this podcast and how many people we reached and just some of the amazing guests that we've had on who really helped make that all happen. Like it was so crazy. We got our favorite people. We had Sarah Landon, we had Mike Dooley, we had Sonia Cochette, Lee Harris, so many favorites and so many that are just up and coming that we don't even know their names, like you don't even know. Most people wouldn't even know their names, but because of the exposure, now they've gone on and done great things. So I'm really excited to see how where we've taken this and some of the other podcasts like Next Level Soul, Inspire a Nation. And it's just so fun to be both having fabulous guests on our own show and also being asked to show up on other people's like the
Yeah.
way like the one we did last week where we just were on that podcast with Inspire Nation and it was just so cool and fun and it's just you can feel the energy building and building and building and it's just really it's hilarious and so how have you found that's changed your personal life?
Expansion. I feel like my frequency and vibration is so high that I'm attracting and we're attracting so many icons and so many people that have learned how to keep their frequency and vibration high. And I feel like it's just being in the presence of some of these like-minded individuals, like some that you described, like Sarah Landon and Lee Harris and Wendy Kennedy and
Oh
Diana
yeah, her too.
Diana Cooper and
Yeah, yeah,
um
just ordered her book.
yeah, and so it's just like it's been a
Oh, and I got an autographed copy because she loves our show so much that she actually said like I'm going to send you an autographed copy of this
mm,
book because and she was just so praising us for what we're doing because stepping out onto the edge and in the face of whatever like we're just stepping out and being our authentic selves and it's so nice to have that reflected back to us by some of these pioneers who created all this and to actually be helping other people too who are just starting out now. And I just got a request the other day for us to, I meant to mention to you, to go on this other, and they have thousands and thousands of viewers, but they just wanted to have somebody even more prominent, well known to boost them. And so I hope it's okay with you that I did agree for the two of us because I kind of vetted them. And yeah, so we'll get on that show and also other platforms like speaking in person platforms.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, but you know
like
what
being
though?
invited to be on that world tour, the next Hay House, that you can do it. It's so exciting because I know you'll be coming to Canada for that. So we'll be, meeting up in Toronto for the next Hay House presentation that we've been invited to be a speaker on stage. And but then there's also an American one, so I'll come to the States and we'll do that also. So that's really exciting. I'm
Not to
really pumped
mention,
about.
I was stumbling on Gaia TV and happened to come across your interview. You know,
Oh, that's fabulous.
yeah, and
Yeah, yeah.
where you were channeling animals who had crossed over, and you know,
That's right. Yeah.
and
And I
and
talked about talking about your little one that I had channeled
mhm,
too.
yeah, yeah, and
Oh,
so
yeah.
there has been a lot of promotion for that. I've seen it all over social media, and then I was like, oh man, I got to see this. I saw it on billboards when I was driving on the highway. I saw it all
You
over
know, that's
social.
so cute. And I actually use my own cat for a model because I have such
Mm.
beautiful, feline friends. I don't call them fur babies, but they're just my friends and my guides. And I just learned kahu is what they call it in Hawaiian. And it's like that's what they call because you're like a caregiver, you cherish them, you look after them, you meet their needs. So you don't call yourself an owner, a pet owner, you call yourself their kahu. So I really like that because it kind of
Oh,
sounds
that's
like
cool.
cat and human put together.
I
So
love that.
yeah, so actually Hawaii is one of the next in-person workshops. I thought we should tell people that we're doing this retreat in Hawaii, and it's going to be at one of the more remote islands, and it's just we're going to just dive into so much. Trying to think of the
So much
thank you, I love you.
expansion.
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to think of the Hawaiian thing that's basically thank you, I love you, please forgive
Oh
me,
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah. The
sorry.
whole
But what is
Ho'oponopono. Yeah,
Ho'oponopono, yeah.
yeah,
I always remember it sounds like kind of to my human mind goes hop on a hippo, and that's kind of how I remember it, but I still forgot. Ho'oponopono, oh yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just so fun just to play and explore and all the other wonderful opportunities that come through that and just to see the whole world just coming together that way. So great to be a part of it all and yeah.
This is like dreaming, this is the imagination. This is like getting all the creativity and the juices flowing. I love this.
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. I want to go pack for Hawaii. I'm already thinking
yeah,
what am I gonna wear?
yeah. I already got my suitcase packed. Um, you know, I want to, yeah, we're gonna, if everybody, I mean, even if everybody doesn't like it, we're gonna continue doing this as part of the show, because I feel like this is something that we all could benefit from, even the listeners and me and you and just everybody. And yeah, it's funny that you brought this up, and somebody that I was in their community, um, they had another name for it, and they were doing, I was there for a couple years in that community, and they were doing this. They would meet on Zoom and they would do this. It would be like a weekly thing, and everybody would
Yeah.
get together, and you would switch partners, and you would build each other up and say, like, kind of similar to what you
Yeah.
started
Yeah.
this with, saying that, oh man, I walked into Borders and I saw your 30 books. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly the way that they, or Kyle Cease would, and God, I can't remember the name of it, what they called it, but he even did it at events, and
Oh,
when,
nice.
yeah, so when he had his event, like 3-day workshops in Sedona and stuff like that, they would do it, everybody in the audience would do it, and so that's where I kind of got the idea of like, okay, like, you are taking what you're bringing your, oh God, I can't get the words out, like a year ago or a year from now, you're talking about it as if it already happened right now,
Yeah. Yeah.
so that's kind of the way that he described it, and the
We're
way
still
that
we're
I get it.
speaking it into being.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah,
are, and the
yeah,
more. So I learned,
you're
like I learned
embodying
it
it.
from Abraham Hicks, but I also what really came home when I was studying a lot with Mike Dooley, and he was sharing how he would do that with his brother Andy Dooley, and they would get together and they would say like, "Well, did you book your private jet? Because we got
Oh
whatever this
yeah,
big figure," and then they would just like
yeah,
really
yeah,
really
yeah. You start to
designate like
embody
what we
it.
just did, but
Yeah,
just like yeah, like and making it really real and it happens and it's also like the universe is going, oh, okay, like not
yeah,
that I know there's nobody actually listening like that, but it's just like we're vibrating out that energy and it's attracting whatever needs to happen for that to come. So don't be surprised, people. We do actually anticipate having some of these fabulous other teachers on our show, and so
yes,
we're excited to share that with you.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. This is a good place to end it, I think.
yeah,
And I just
yeah,
got an idea that I'm going to talk to you real quick after we get off the recording that
okay.
came through. But yeah, there's so much to come. You all be prepared, buckle up, because get ready for this journey. Summer is upon us. We're going into spring, and just
Yeah,
it's so, the sun, like, as of yesterday, we got sun after like days of rain, and
Yeah.
um, the warmth hasn't fully come yet, but it's going to start warming up from what I gather. And but the sun is so bright. I can feel it. I feel the energy. I feel the shifts happening. I feel it. There's something huge upon us.
Oh,
Um, it's just, I mean, I know everybody can feel it. So,
yeah.
as we approach summer and spring, so, but this has been an amazing show. I mean, I think by far this was probably one of the best. I mean, I
Oh,
say that every
awesome.
time, but like, I love everything that was talked about, and especially the ending with what we just did. And
Yeah, I really
I think
like
that was
that
the
too.
icing
And
on the
the
cake.
more
Yeah.
time you give that, the deeper and richer it gets, and the more
Yeah.
you kind of really let ourselves go. So, like really get into that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
Exactly.
what do they call that with actors? Improv almost,
Yeah.
but it's like it makes it real.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. 100%. So thank you, Alexandria. And if you all haven't
You,
already,
Darren.
subscribe, comment, share, like, and share these damn videos out, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And
That's you're doing their bit,
yeah,
doing their
so
bit.
thank you again. And this was
Thank you,
amazing.
Darren.
And we'll see you guys in the next one.
And big love, everybody, and thank you so much for watching. And
Yes.
this has been fun as always. So
Yep.
have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.